We're going to kick off with a video. We've got the pleasure of having Joaquín here. You're the translator, right? To translate. Does anyone know who Joaquín is? Put your hands up if you know Joaquín. Right. World-renowned flamenco dancer, a great advocate for peace, and he came out here to support this project. And we're going to show a little video of his power of the dance and what he does.
Es muy difícil alcanzar un nombre y que todo el mundo te conozca.
Thank you.
Joaquín Cortés.
I'm very shy.
Joaquín Cortés, and as we know, Joaquín is the #1 flamenco dancer in the world. Joaquín has now made human fraternity as his main objective. I want you to listen to Joaquín, and he's going to talk a little bit about his journey, why he thinks flamenco is important, and I think this is going to be very interesting. What is actually flamenco? And I suspect by the end of Joaquín's presentation, or a little bit of share, I think we'll realize that we all have a little bit of flamenco sort of like tune or tap
In us.
So let's give it back to Joaquín. And
Joaquín, hands together for Joaquín.
Okay, thank you for coming. I'm very happy to be here in Davos. Thank you, Abraham House, Daniel, for invite. Thank you, Halet, for invite the humanity and fraternity community. Sorry, my English is terrible. I speak Spanish, perfect, but English is terrible. But it's very important for me. Around the world, it's very important the two things. Is the base is education and culture. Me representing the culture around the world. I'm dancer, and choreographer, the flamenco meets the fusion style, classic ballet, contemporary, modern dance, and music. Flamenco music, classic music, modern music, mix, fusion, the fusion. And I'm happy because it's very important today. I understand the war is evolution, but it's very important the culture. The culture is very important. Sometimes is now the new generation is the culture. Okay, culture. No, music, another thing. But the culture es la base. O sea, dile que es la base de cualquier país, ¿no?
The basis of the world, every country.
She's translation for me, es Carmen, sorry. Lo que quiero decir es que es muy importante la cultura en el mundo y que estamos en un momento difícil y que tenemos que luchar por la cultura.
He said that we are in a difficult moment and it's the moment to fight, to support the culture in the world.
The flamenco is born in Andalusia, in the south of Spain. The flamenco is the mixed culture, the fusion culture, Arab, Jewish, Gypsy, I'm Gypsy, and ¿cómo se dice? Cristiano?
Christian and Spanish people.
And Spanish people, and Spanish. It's very important, the movement for the first sound in the body in general is the latido?
The beat, the heartbeat.
The heartbeat, you know? For example, 1 second. You know the very important is the hair. Maybe. No, it's very important because it's the music at the body. Everybody sometimes dancing, no? The movement is the universal language. Is the dance movements. You know what I mean? Okay. I'm very proud for my life. I love it. Dancer. I love it. Music. I love it. Culture is very important. Thank you.
Thank you, Joaquín.
Thank you, Joaquín. And I'm just going to expand a little bit before I get to the point that I wanted to make in this panel. What Joaquín is saying is really important to me because I had a conversation with him last night. We happened to be in the same chalet, and he was telling me about, what is that flamingo? He had a question about flamingo at the earlier stage of his life. Now, he loved the dance, he loved the beat, he loved the music, but then soon he realized that flamingo is all about all these different cultures and these different beats coming together. It's a unique form that comes together and comes out in unity. And when it's in unity, it's extremely beautiful. And I think that is what we want to do at the Higher Committee of Human Fraternity. What we want to do is we want to bring all these different beats that we have in this room, outside, with the younger generation, with people in music, with people in film. We want to bring that beat, we want to harmonize it, and we want to bring it out. Just like Joaquín's Flamingo, the Higher Committee of Human Fraternity wants everybody to be in sync, to be in tune, so that we can promote living together in the world. I think we have forgotten this for far too long, and I think we need to make a change. We need to make a change right now for their generation, for the generation
Correct.
after them. All right, so
Round of applause, please.
actually I didn't realize that I could do that in one breath, so I'm done. That's the message that I wanted to send. The Higher Committee of Human Fraternity is really open to partner with organizations. We feel that governments, non-governmental organizations, policymakers, artists, every parts of society have this responsibility to promote togetherness. And I always say this. I say this to my children, I say this to my students, and I tell them that we often take things for granted. Let us pause for a while. Look at ourselves. Look at this piece of cloth you have on your body that covers you from the cold. Sometimes it makes you look better. We often forget it takes thousands of people to be involved to produce this.
No nos podemos olvidar de nuestras raíces. No podemos olvidar del origen. Y nosotros venimos de ese origen, ¿no? Por eso ese abrazo de todas las culturas, un mundo sin fronteras.
We don't forget the roots, the origin. And he said that it's very important, the hue between all together to support the culture.
Excellent. So our point is that we cannot live alone. We cannot be alone in this world. Everything that we do and everything that we need every day requires us to be in sync somehow. The only problem is that we take things for granted. So governments have to stop taking things for granted. Leadership is very important in our own fields, non-governmental, artists, musicians, filmmakers, students. I really want to work with students. I want to work more with students. We all have to come together. And this is what we're working on at the Higher Committee of Human Fraternity. We are open for business. Please look for me. And, we want to partner as many people as possible to promote this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm coming over now. Khaliya, can you hear us?
Yes.
Amazing. I know you can't see us, and that's really difficult, so I apologize about this. Everyone here, can you wave? Can you wave? Everyone's waving to you.
Khaliya is just looking at me.
Can you turn it round? Oh, now can you see the audience? There you go. Yay! Everyone's here in support of you, Khaliya. We want to thank you for supporting this at the World Economic Forum. Your support has meant so much to every single one of us. Our friendship, how I came to know you through the United Nations initiative, and please God, we'll have a presence there in September at their gathering as well together. So what I'd like to do, I'd like everyone just to hear a little bit about your story, why you got behind the Abraham House, but also the topics and the issues that connect back to the core principle of this panel. Oh, you've disconnected her. The core principles of this panel. Can you still hear us?
I can still hear you.
Oh, amazing. Sounds even got better. Amazing. Yeah, you're back. So the bridges of unity, forgive me, redefining human fraternity for a transforming world. Can I ask you, what does that mean for you? And how do you define it in the world today?
Well, firstly, I just want to point out that the flamenco dancer that was just speaking, there's a very significant role that Andalusia has played in religious tolerance in the past. It's a region in southern Spain, but it's historically significant for its religious pluralism. During the Andalus period, it was a period when Muslims, Christians, and Jews coexisted peacefully for centuries with cultural and intellectual exchange between the different faiths. And it's been seen as a model for what religious tolerance in medieval Europe was, and what I would like to think we could have one day ourselves. And so, in a way, that's a story to say why I am here helping to promote the work of Abraham House, is because I believe that the world that we live in should be one of religious tolerance and religious pluralism, and to the extent that we can do whatever we can to push that forward, I would like to. And I generally work with more mental health issues. I'm a public health specialist. My degree in Columbia was in public health, and I've done a lot with the health sector. But as a peace activist and someone with an interesting religious background, this is something that's really important for me. But I wanted to actually ask if, and this is nice because now I can see the audience.
Yes, so sorry about that.
if everyone could just stand up for a minute.
Sure. Everyone's going to stand up here.
Indulge me in a little exercise.
Okay, this is amazing. Let's do this.
Okay.
Okay, Khaliya, I have to say I can't stand up because the laptop is on my lap. And if I move, I'm going to lose you. So I'm going to sacrifice myself for this exercise.
Stay there.
Okay.
Stay there.
But so what I would like you to do, and if you're not comfortable doing this, just put your hand on your chest and look the person in the eye. But what I would like you to do is to hug the person on your right, and then to hug the person on your left. In whatever order makes the most sense. All right.
That is beautiful.
Okay, now you can sit down. But what I wanted to, notice in yourself. How do you feel now? How do you feel about your neighbor?
Hold on one sec. We're gonna ask these people how they feel. How do you feel?
Better?
How better?
I don't know. It's more. I'm more relaxed now.
Okay. More relaxed. How did you feel when you hugged?
I felt like I belonged.
Love. No borders.
Calm.
Less. My back hurts, and honestly, it made my back feel better.
Did you hear that? Go for it. She said her back hurts less.
Amazing. Well, so when you hug, you release what I call dose. So dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and epinephrine. And these are all considered feel-good hormones. They generally they improve mood, they reduce stress, they reduce anxiety, and they promote feelings of peace and happiness, which is, ultimately the goal of fraternity and sorority, is making us feel like we care about the person next to us. We feel close to the person next to us, and we feel good in our own bodies. And so I say this because the opposite of this is when we feel fear, when we have anger or threats, we get flooded with adrenaline and cortisol, a lot of neurotransmitters involved in, with the amygdala in the fight or flight response. And when we have the fight or flight response, we are actually in the old brain. We're in the limbic system. We're in the sort of, act, anger, survive at all costs part. And this makes us feel not good at all. And it makes us act very differently. We act more like the primate side of our ancestral heritage as humans who have evolved through time. So I just wanted to bring that into high relief, because one of the things that we can do now that we understand the brain better is to use these innovations, these new understandings of how the brain and the body work and how we can control our own nervous systems to be more evolved humans. When we are in the state that we were just in when we were hugging, we were capable of using our prefrontal cortex to really think through, oh wow, I like this person next to me, I feel close to this person, I wouldn't hurt this person next to me. But when we get into the fight or flight zone, when we get into that zone of fear, we don't make the right decisions anymore. We don't make the good decisions anymore because we're not in the prefrontal cortex. We're in the limbic system. We're in our most animal-like form. And I bring this up because I think part of the promotion of religious pluralism, part of the promotion of peace, is that it is a different kind of a war. Waging peace is its own process. You have to be consistent. You have to be relentless, and you have to practice it every day. And this is one of those things that we can do to put ourselves in the emotional state and the physical state that helps inform our mental state, so that we can be better deciders, we can be better humans, we can be more evolved decision makers.
So Khaliya.
So to bring that hack to everyone's attention.
Absolutely.
And to say, fear can be anything. I always say, fear could be forget everything and run, which is your limbic system, or face everything and rise.
So,
What you did today when you stood up and hugged each other.
so Khaliya, we have in the audience here Chris Voss, right? He doesn't know I'm going to pick on him. And he's been a tremendous supporter. He came out and spoke yesterday on the panel. And there's no one that probably understands relationships and how to connect better, especially in times of difficulty, which we all know we are in right now, than this man here. And I want to share a word on what it means to redefine human fraternity today in a world where there's so much disconnect, so much talk at the World Economic Forum, but how do we actually move to action? And that's what I want to ask the question. Can I ask you to say a few words?
Sure. It's easier than we think because everybody talks about that we're all different. We're from different countries. We've had different experiences. But at a base level, it's the academic distinction between feelings and emotions. Everybody in this room was born with the same core emotions. It's original equipment. Fear, anger, surprise, disgust, happiness. And to speak to what she said earlier about the ancient brain, of the original emotions that we were born with, and everyone has the same ones. 4 out of 5 are negative. That's why it's very easy to fight or flight or run, because we get kicked into the fear brain. But the reason why we're all part of the same fraternity is we were all born the same. And when we remember that, then it's easier to connect through our differences.
Thank you so much. Hand of applause for Chris. So this young lady on the panel, when we're kids, remember as kids, when we're in nursery, how easy it is to connect with each other? It's so easy, and when there's a problem, the next day you forget about it, and you just carry on. Why is it as adults it's so much more difficult? Have you ever thought about that? So with your friendships, can I ask you a question? Why is it, do you think, children find it so much easier to connect with each other than adults do?
Because you have more experience at the beginning. You just, like maybe at school, you just talk to people, you just play with them.
You don't care what they think.
Yes, and then you just become friends. You go out with them, you talk with them every day, you laugh with them. Then adults, it's not the same mentality, which is not someone you may see every day, like at school, or someone with who you're gonna laugh a lot.
So you feel ultimately what you're saying is when you connect with a friend, you feel that you're not caring about what they're from, what culture, anything like that. What you care is you just have a good time.
Yes.
That's really important. Round of applause for her, please. What does it mean to everyone else in the audience? Can I ask a few other people in the audience? Jen, what does it mean to you to redefine human fraternity in a world today?
Redefining human fraternity in the world today means for me really having tolerance. And what I think it was the man yesterday, Wendy's partner, who said the best thing to do is to repeat the other person's point of view before giving your own. And I think this is the best word of advice. Chris Voss, it was his word of advice. And I remembered that because I don't do it enough.
Amazing. Michael Sterling from Sterling Infrastructure. In the world today, you deal with so many major governments, business leaders. When you think about reconnecting on a topic that you do, how do you redefine human fraternity in your world?
Daniel always does surprises. So the first point is you shouldn't look at the person and make judgments. I think having prejudgments is one of the most biggest challenges. I remember sitting in a car in a Rolls-Royce convertible. This guy offered me a lift, and he made a whole load of assumptions which were entirely based on his own preconceptions. And I said, let's not discuss that. Get to know me as a person. Let me get to know you as a person. And I kind of like pulled him over just through the intellectual discussion we had, and we found things that were intellectually of common interest. And I started to add value to the conversation, and he appreciated it. And then I started offering him solutions to the points we were discussing. At the end of the conversation, I said some of the themes that you thought about were preconceptions in your mind. I'd like you to set them aside and let's get to know each other. The next time I went back to his house, I flew back there a year later. He picked me up from the airport. He invited me to have dinner with his family and his grandchildren. And it was that human contact of actually putting all politics aside. Let the politicians deal with that. But as humans and as people, I think if we're adding value to conversations and discussions, and just as those children, as you were talking about, which was brilliant, they don't have those kind of preconceptions that this person believes this or that. I travel all over the world. I meet with ministers, I meet with CEOs, and the first thing I try to do is to break the atmosphere and actually create a sense of genuine authenticity. I'm not playing chess. What I'm doing is actually trying to connect with that person as a one-to-one, really, and show an interest in them and not have an agenda. Having an agenda is the worst thing. And get to know that person, and by knowing that person and understanding that person and building that trust with them, then you can look at the more complicated things. Because, again, a fascinating meeting that I went to, I was in South Korea earlier this year, and I was sitting with the Saudi minister, and I was sitting with the Israeli minister. And they were sitting at the same table. And one of the guys had his back to the other guy. I said, Jesus Christ, I can't believe this. We have two ambassadors of countries sitting next to each other on the table, and they're not communicating. I couldn't help myself. I said, do you not see this as an opportunity for you guys to talk, to get to know each other, to know who each other is, rather than have this position of turning your backs on each other without knowing each other? And it's about being able to communicate and build bridges. And if people can't do that, the governments can't. And if the people can do it, then they can put the pressure going up. But it should be bottom up, not top down. Thank you.
Thank you. Round of applause for Michael. Really appreciate it. Joaquín, I have a question for you. When you hear all this, what I'm taking away from this session is the young don't care. They connect because they don't think about boundaries, borders, or anything. You connect through the beat. Michael connects through authenticity. Is the commonality between all this then coming down to finding something that you both respect and care about, which builds upon the relationship little by little? Is that what it comes down to? Yeah, 1 second.
Bueno, sorry, I speak Spanish, she translation.
No problem.
Yo tengo la suerte, la gran suerte,
He's lucky.
because I'm two children, two boys, small. Estoy enamorado de mis hijos.
He fall in love for the children.
He falls in love with children. He loves
Mis
children.
hijos lo que me hacen es ser cada vez más humano, volver a mi origen, volver cuando yo era pequeño y estaba con mi familia.
His children connect him with the roots, with his family, and he feel well and connected with the childhood through the children.
Y esto me hace muy feliz porque me recuerda a mi niñez, cuando yo me relacionaba con mis amigos, con todos los niños en el mundo. Y luego tuve la suerte de empezar a viajar por el mundo muy pequeño y conocer muchas personas diferentes, muchas culturas.
He is connected with the young people because he start work very young. He has traveled a lot, and she's open on all the culture, and is the reflex of the world that he does.
Y esto me dio la oportunidad de, ahora con la edad, ahora con la edad que tengo, de darme cuenta de lo importante que es que haya un acercamiento, que estemos juntos, que ese abrazo que antes se han dado la gente, ¿no? Qué importante es la comunicación también, el abrazo de todo el mundo, ¿no?
for him is very important, this opportunity to generate link with all the people, and the hug that we did before is very important to create this link with the people without other.
Absolutely.
Y volver a nuestra niñez, porque ese niño que tenemos dentro es lo que nos hace soñar.
To come back to the childhood, because the children, the child that we have inside is that to have a dream.
Amazing. Khaliya, can you hear us?
Yes.
Can you share a little bit about the Ripples Collective? They're performing here live tonight. Could you share why is that so important and your support for bringing them to the World Economic Forum to perform at the Abraham House?
Well, so Ripples is a performance troupe composed of individuals that are both from the Palestinian and the Israeli side. In fact, one of the people there has been nominated for 4 different Nobel Prizes as part of a collective, because he used to be a Palestinian activist, combatant, and was in jail for his activities. But then during the jail process, he realized that he wanted to work for peace, and now he represents an organization called Combatants for Peace. The other one is a psychedelic researcher who has used the process of reconciliation and just getting people, even ones that were actively militant, to sit at the same table, to sit in the same room, and then through a process get to see each other's common humanity. And this performance, it's poetry, it's dance, it's some of the results of the different processes and studies that they did, showing how it worked. And it's sort of this immersive experience where you actually go through with them the reconciliation that they were able to bring between both the Palestinians and the Israelis involved in this project, as well as talk about some of the outcomes, while immersed in both dance and poetry performance. It's going to be incredible and powerful.
Amazing.
So I really suggest that anybody who can go at 7 o'clock and check it out.
Thank you so much.
It'll change your mind.
That's
and change
amazing. So that's tonight here. I think we can actually go with 6:30. Jen, is it 6:30 actually? I've got it. Yes, 6:30 here.
Cocktails at 6:30. They're going to do a sound check for about an hour.
Okay.
And so probably we'll start at 7 on the dot.
7 o'clock tonight, inviting you all to come here.
And while they do their sound check, we've got a piano man who sings in 5 languages, and it's really great. So stay for the piano man.
Amazing.
And stay for the performance at stage.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Khaliya. Thank you. Herizal, back to you. Your thoughts on what would you like to get the message across to this audience? And I'm going to ask them to do one thing shortly that they can support your goal and what you're trying to achieve.
Okay, so I want a pledge.
Okay?
Right? I want, in the smallest ways, that all of us in this room think how you can contribute in terms of ideas, in terms of connection, collaboration, in terms of the people you can bring to the table, institutional as well as personal connections. How can we work together to promote human fraternity? This, to me, is probably the most important thing. I do not believe that our organization can do this by ourselves. I think collectively our action will be extremely powerful. And in the spirit of pledging, I'm going to make a pledge that I'm going to support Joaquín's initiative to bring together dance and music from around the world in the name of human fraternity. I'm going to pledge for that.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I'm going to come back to the young lady in a minute for you to share, like, one thing you'd like to see happen in the world to really bring coexistence together between all human beings. Okay, I'm going to come back to you in a second. I want, Joachim, what pledge would you like to make to support this mission? Is there anything? The Abraham House, human fraternity. He's going to come back in a second.
I'm here. And collaboration. Estoy abierto a, evidentemente, ayudar. Si tú me ayudas, yo te ayudo. Al final estamos juntos todos.
All are together,
Yes.
and he offered him to help with the rest, with you, with Abraham House and the High
take it
Committee,
global.
and to support and to
support us with his brand and his reach.
To get the
Thank you. Thank you. And yourself, what does it mean to you to create a world of coexistence, and what would you like to see for the next generation?
Only the best,
Aw.
of course. And that's all.
That's all we want, right? The best version of ourselves. Thank you so much. Okay, anyone from the audience want to ask any questions before we wrap up this panel? We good? We good, Nicole? Do you have anything you want to add?
I guess the question.
Well, 1 second, let me bring this over to you.
The question I always like to ask is, what do you need most? You've got a whole room full of people, so what is it you need? And the live stream.
Can I
That's
go?
your opportunity.
Can I go for this? We need a lot of things, but at the heart of it, we need you to be consistent. We need you to be very, very sincere in this whole process of promoting human fraternity. That's all we need, actually. You know, no money can buy that. No huge project can buy that. We go home in the smallest way that we can. We love our neighbors. We love our friends. We promote it. And if you have some extra time, and obviously some extra money, do contribute, because there are people who are very serious in this actionable plan. Human fraternity is not just a vision. It has to be in terms of actionable plans.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Khaliya, I'd like to leave the last word to you for the audience and everyone listening.
I think, you know, what we need is you. It all starts with the individual, and the individual becomes the collective. So, you know, be an example in your everyday actions for what we want to see in the world.
Well, one thing we want to do, we're about to go to the next panel, which is the power of music, right? And I know one of the things, Herizal, you want to get behind is a concert, music concert, which I believe you want to host in the UAE, really elevating the mission, the vision of the core values of what we're doing with Abraham House, Khaliya, and everyone in the audience. Do you want to just talk about that vision? Because people can support that.
Okay, so this is the moment, right? So this is the moment where this idea is going to be communicated with all of you in this room, and for whoever's watching this live. Now, a few months ago, we had this idea is, what if we put together artists, dancers, musicians, choreographers, and we bring them together to promote music in the name of human fraternity, right? Now, this is at an ideation level, but what it really wants to do is it wants to get people from our generation, which is not too far off from her generation, together, enjoy beats, enjoy music, and enjoy life, and at the same time, promote human fraternity and coexistence. So this
Amazing. Thank you so much.
The idea.
That's it. Thank you so much. Round of applause for the panel.
Thank you.